Hey everyone, welcome to another video by Simplilearn. In this video, we will create a real-time chat application using Node.js, JavaScript and TypeScript. Let's look at the chat application which we are going to create. This is the chat application where we have two users, and from the user one we will send the message hello, and the user 2 will receive it. And from the user 2 we will send the message hi, and the user 1 receives it. So this is basically a simple chat application how we can create. How are you? So this is basically a simple chat application which we can create. So in this video we will learn to make this chat application from the scratch. But before we begin, make sure you have subscribed to our YouTube channel and clicked on the bell icon so you never miss an update from Simplilearn. Watch the video till the end so that you don't miss out anything. So without wasting any further time, let's get started. First of all, we will create a new folder. So I'll go to my D drive and I'll create a new folder. I'll name the folder as chat app. So after creating this new folder, so we will go to Visual Studio Code, open a new window. In new window, we will open the folder which we created. We created the folder in D drive. We will first create the user interface. To create the user interface, for that we need to create a new file called index.html. So I've successfully created the new file index.html. So we'll change the title. We'll name the title as IO chat. Next, after this, we'll open the link. Before this, we should know what is CDN. A CDN is a network of servers that distributes content from an origin server throughout the world by catching content close to where each end user is accessing the internet via a web-enabled device. The content they request is first stored on the origin server and is then replicated and stored elsewhere as needed. So we will use Bootstrap Cdn and Query Cdn for our project. So we'll use the link tag. The link element allows authors to link their document to other resources. We'll click on the link. So for this, to get the Bootstrap CDN, we will go to the browser and type Bootstrap CDN. So we'll copy this link for Bootstrap CDN and we'll paste it here. Bootstrap is the most popular CSS framework for developing responsive and mobile-first websites. Bootstrap 5 is the newest version of Bootstrap, and Bootstrap is free open source CSS framework directed at responsive mobile-first front-end web development. It contains CSS and JavaScript based on design templates for forms, buttons, navigation, and other interface components. After this, next we need jQuery CDN. Next we'll get the jQuery CDN and write it in the script tags. So I'll select script. The script element allows authors to include dynamic script and data blocks in their documents. The element does not represent content for the user. To get the CDN for jQuery, go to the browser and just type jQuery CDN. and open the first link. Click on uncompressed and copy this. Go back to the Visual Studio Code and paste it. So after this is done, jQuery is fast, small, and feature-rich JavaScript library. It makes things like HTML document transversal and manipulation, event handling, animation, and Ajax much simpler with an easy-to-use API that works across a multitude of browsers with a combination of versatility and extensibility. So after this, we'll take one more script tag, and this time we will include the we'll take one more script tag. Inside this script tag, we will enter the client-side socket.io web API that will work inside the browser. You can go to the browser and search socket.io. You will get all the information related to socket.io. So just go and type socket.io. Here, just go to the browser and type socket.io, and on this website socket.io you have all the documentation and all the details to get started with socket.io. So you can go through the socket.io here. So in the script tags, I'll write source and just type socket.io slash socket.io.js. So after this, we'll create a new div tag. So the div element has no special meaning at all. It represents its children. It can be used with the class, language, and title attributes to mark up semantics common to a group of consecutive elements. So inside this div, we'll create a new class. New class container. So class is basically a space separated list of classes of the element. Classes allow CSS and JavaScript to select and access specific elements via the class selector or functions like the method document get elements by class name. So after this, we'll create another div class row. Inside this, we'll create one more div class. This column medium for this class is used when the device size is medium or greater than 768 pixel and the maximum width of the container is 720 pixel and you want the width equal to 4 columns. That is when we use this function column medium 4. Next we'll create another div class well. So after this we'll provide the heading h3. The h3 element represents a section heading. So in this we'll provide the heading as online users. You can change the headings whatever you want to, but I'll keep it as online users. So after this we'll create an unordered list. In this class list group, and id. So after this we'll create a one more div. In this div class we'll provide column medium of size 8. This column medium 8 stands for large column. Then we'll create a div, another div class chat, where id is equal to chat. Then I'll create a form. This form element represents a collection of form associated elements, some of which can represent editable values that can be submitted into a server or a processing. Where form id is equal to form message form. This will create a div class form group. Next we'll create a label. So label element represents a caption in a user interface. The caption can be associated with specific form control known as label elements label control, either using for attribute or by putting the form control inside the label element itself. So use the label element. Inside that we'll write enter message. Next we'll create a text area. Use the label text area. So inside text area we'll create a class form control and id message. So text area element represents a multi-line plain text edit control for the element's raw value. The contents of the control represent the control's default value. After the text area, we'll just write, then we will create an input element of, will assign a type submit class button value send message in double quotes. So this input tab basically it represents a type data field usually with a form control to allow the user to edit the data. So we have finished with the user interface. We'll just save this and run it in the browser. Right click and open with live server. So here we go. We have created the HTML, but we will now create assign few CSS elements. We just need the margin top for the body, so we'll assign that. So we'll create styles element. The style element allows authors to embed style information in their documents. The style element is one of the several inputs to the styling processing model. The element does not represent content for the user. So in the style, we'll just write this body and we'll assign margin top 30 pixel. Save this and we'll go to the browser and just refresh. So till now we have created the user interface. We'll just go to the browser and run this user interface. Just right click and click on open with live server. Now we will create a new file called server.js and we'll go to the terminal. In terminal we will run two commands. First of all we need to install socket.io. For that we'll run npm and there is one prerequisite. We need to have Node.js installed in our device. So then run the command node package manager npm install socket.io. Socket.io is a library that enables real-time, bidirectional and event-based communication between the browser and the server. It consists of a Node.js server and a JavaScript client library for the browser. After installing socket.io, then we need to install Express. For that, run the command npm install express. Express is a minimal and flexible Node.js web application framework that provides a robust set of features for web and mobile applications. After installing socket.io and Express, you will get these two files, package.json file and package log.json. Next, go to the server.js, wherein I will paste few lines of code. In the line 1 creates an Express application. The Express function is a top-level function exported by the Express module. Then we have const listen, and then we require an socket.io. Then we have created an variable app express method. Then we have created an variable server. So this server, that is, we use the module HTTP. So it creates a module HTTP. To use the HTTP server and client, we must require HTTP. The HTTP interfaces in Node.js are designed to support many features of the protocol, which have been traditionally difficult to use. In particular, large possible chunk encoded messages. The interface is careful to never buffer entire requests or responses, so the user is able to stream data. Then we have another variable IO where we require socket.io server. And similarly, we are listening in the port 3000. So in port 3000, it starts a server listening for connection. A net.server can be an TCP or an IPC server depending on what it listens to do. Then we have app.get. Here the request is declared but its value is never read. We have request and response. Then we are routing it on the localhost 3000. So in this line, we are transferring the file at the given path. So automatically sets the content type response header field. The callback is invoked when the transfer is complete or when an error occurs. Be sure to check request response sent if you wish to attempt responding, as the header and some data may be already been transferred. Here we are connecting the client to the server, and here we add plug details to the customer array, and here we are checking the current connections. And then we disconnect from the server using the disconnect function. Next we delete the plug details, and again we show the current connections. Here on the socket.on we send messages function data, and then we console.log the data. Then we emit the new messages. So then we have written console.log server is listening. So now we will run this code and check if the server is listening. Now we'll check if the server is listening. For that we'll run the command node server, and here we go, server is listening. Now we'll just go and run the localhost 3000 on the browser. Go to the new tab and just run localhost 3000, and here we go, it's running. And when we come back to the code, we can see it shows one socket connected. So again, if we go and open it in a new browser and just run the localhost and go back to the code, it will show two sockets connected. So we are almost done. We just have a small part left out. We'll go to index.html, and here we'll just scroll down, and above body we'll just paste few lines of code. So here basically we are just creating a function to get data form. So we'll get message form, and we are creating variables message, and we are creating variables chat. So basically in this line we will know form between click event handler, and then we will prevent default from submission. Next, in this line we will trap data for text box and call server. Then we'll clear then we will clear the form text box. Then we'll console.log submitted. So our program is finished. Now we'll just run and check the code. So we'll save this code, go to the browser, refresh it. So I have the two browsers. I have opened it in two separate windows. We'll just check if the application is working. So we'll send the message hi, and here we go. We have received the message. So we can say hello. So the chat application is working successfully. So with that, we have reached the end of this video. I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much for being here. Keep learning and stay tuned to Simplilearn.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.